All right, where can I buy a home in the United States of America? Where can I afford to buy a home? This is part two of a two-part series. Part one, if you haven't listened, check it out. It gets into the different regions. It's more of a high-level look at it. In this show, I want to talk about it more city by city, which is what I promised I would do in part one. So city by city, let's get into, okay, just where can I buy a house in the U.S.? Where is it the most affordable, right? So what are the top 10 most affordable metros in the United States right now? All right, we're going to start with the first one being Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as it stands today, is the most affordable metro in the United States, followed by Cleveland, Ohio, and then Detroit, Michigan, followed by Buffalo, New York, and then St. Louis, Missouri, comes in at number 5, followed by Indianapolis, Indiana, and then Louisville, Kentucky, and rounding out the last 3, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Memphis, Tennessee, and finally El Paso, Texas. Now, these are all sources based on Smart Asset, Bankrate, Realtor.com, a whole bunch of sources that kind of came together and made this list, kind of just put together this list in a combined fashion from all these sources, right? And what you notice is that the Midwest is definitely dominating this list. I mean, it's pretty clear that the top 5, in fact 6, I'll go as far as the top 6 cities are all in the Midwest of the country. That theme seems to be coming up more and more. If you listen to part 1, you'll notice that the Midwest was really the most affordable region by far. Again, this is based on median income. This is based on the prices of these homes. Just is it affordable for a median income household? And I actually had a listener on the show ask me after the part 1 show when I talked about the median household income, well, what is the median household income? And I thought I may have mentioned it, but in case I didn't, it's $87,000 per year. That's the median, U.S. household income as it stands right now in the United States. So, when you think about affordability, it's basing it off of that median income and the prices of the homes and just how affordable they are, right? So when you consider Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania being number 1 on that list, you need $64,000. Your household income needs to be $64,000 a year. And if it is, you can easily afford a home in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's what that means, right? So that's well below the median income of $87,000 a year for the U.S. So that's how you're supposed to look at this, right? So now I want to get into the least affordable. So let's do the top 10 least affordable housing markets. And again, it means the prices of the homes are just completely out of whack with respect to the income that Americans receive. All right. So number 1, San Jose, California. By the way, you're going to see a trend here. The top 4 are in the same state. I kind of gave it away with number 1, but San Jose, California, number 1. Number 2, San Francisco, California. Number 3, Los Angeles, California. And number 4, San Diego, California. Top 4 all in California. Number 5, New York City, New York. Number 6, Boston, Massachusetts. Number 7, Miami, Florida. Number 8, Seattle, Washington, and number 9, Oakland, California, and then rounding out the top 10 is Riverside, California. So those are the, least available, right? Like, I mean, you got to have some seriously high income. And just like in Pittsburgh, when you need, $64,000 a year in your household income, Cleveland $66,000 a year, Detroit $68,000 a year. Well, it's the total opposite, as you can imagine, in these other, and I'll just go over some of these. But in San Jose, which came in at number 1, you need about $400,000 median household income just to, purchase a home in San Jose. $400,000 it has to be your median income. So, it has to be your household income. So that's a pretty steep ask there to be able to afford a home. And so, you don't see you don't see a whole lot of, I guess, affordability when it comes to that area. San Francisco, needs you need at least $300,000 a year just to afford a single family home in San Francisco, and in LA you need about $200,000 a year. That all comes from Bankrate. Also looked up national affordability data sets. All the stuff I talked about in part one, just a little more granular, a little more in depth. But yeah, it's a pretty big gap. And, again, if the median household income in the U.S. is $87,000 a year, you can see what cities are just even possible for folks to buy a home. And then you can see where some are just completely not even close and completely out of reach. So, if I were to sum this up, I'd say, look, in the Midwest by far is right now your most affordable area right now here in the U.S. A little bit of the South, maybe, few parts in the South, but mostly it's the Midwest where you can have a reasonable chance. But yeah, anything in the West Coast, it's really, really tough these days. And it's a pretty big gap, And so this has been something that's been kind of brewing for several years now. And it kind of tells you a lot about why and where migrations would take place. For years, there were so many people migrating from places like New York City and the West Coast in California to places like Florida, where it was a lot cheaper and, you could afford something in Florida. So you did that migration. And as Florida gets more expensive, what does that mean? Maybe that's going to be less migration from those areas. Doesn't mean migration has to stop to Florida, but it certainly will tone its way down, right? And you can look at this and you can say to yourself, well, there's trends that always take place in the market, especially when it comes to investing. And investors tend to like to look to where can I get something. They're not just looking for cheaper, but they're looking for growth. So just because a place is inexpensive or easier to afford, it doesn't mean that it's going to go up so much in value. It may stay down there for a while. It doesn't mean it's a great investment. It may mean you as somebody who might want to move there, you can afford to live there, and that may be something you want to do. But think about it too from a long-term perspective. Miami has been expensive. It seems like it's been expensive for a long time, but it continues to get more expensive, right? So it doesn't necessarily equate to, oh, it's so cheap, therefore it's got to go much higher in value. It may not. It may stay down. It stays down for a reason. There's a reason why it's been going up. There's a reason why California goes up in value. California has a tremendous economy. Right. And we know about all the tech revolution that took place over the last 20, 30, 40 years there, if not longer. And with the growth of Silicon Valley. And we understand why there's so much value in California. I think it's the 5th largest economy in the world, not just the world. So and the same kind of thing is happening in Florida, especially in the South, especially in places like major cities like Miami and even Tampa and Orlando, where growth just continues to come in and continues to bring up value, and migration continues, and investors are still looking in Florida. They're still believing in the story in Florida even today, even after such a dramatic rise in home values. So, it's something to remember and something to think of. There's that investor mindset, and there's that other, where can I buy a home mindset. They're two different, and it's important to note, if you're thinking about it like an investor, you do need to think, where's the growth, not just where is it cheap. Could be expensive, but is there growth driving that? Is there value that I'm getting that's going to provide me future growth and even much greater, ultimately, future returns? That is it for me today. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. And as always, if you have questions or need specific advice, ideas, or just some help regarding your particular real estate needs or situation, or if you're just looking to buy or sell real estate in Florida, well then DM me on Instagram at The Salib Group, or just send me an email to mark@thesalibgroup.com. Don't forget to leave a rating for the show, follow, subscribe, help others find the show, and be informed and educated about the real estate market just like you. Until next time.